Okay, the third reason that biodiversity is important is for ethical and aesthetic reasons. And this is a little more subjective based on your opinion, but people have ethical reasons for wanting to preserve ecosystems. In other words, they feel like it's wrong for us as humans to destroy a species, to make a species go extinct. You've all heard examples of this. For example, passenger pigeons used to be on the planet and they are now extinct because humans overhunted them. Lots of other animals and plants have gone extinct because we've taken their habitat away. And people think that's just wrong. That would be an ethical reason for preserving biodiversity. Aesthetic reasons has to do with how those ecosystems look. For example, I brought up the North Shore along Lake Superior earlier. Along Lake Superior, there's a ton of tourism and people love to go up there because it's beautiful, and they wouldn't want to see it damaged because of the way it looks. Okay, those are the aesthetic reasons. Just appreciation for what the ecosystem looks like and what the biodiversity of plants and animals are. I know a lot of you are hunters or know hunters, and you can imagine what it would be like to hunt in an area that doesn't have all the different organisms and plants and animals that you are used to hunting in, right? There's something to be said for just the beauty of an area of land due to the plants and the animals. Okay, threats to biodiversity. So these are the things that we need to watch out for that are actually causing our numbers of plants and animals to decrease, as well as our types or different kinds of plants and animals to decrease. So the first thing that I mentioned earlier is habitat destruction. And this is the number one reason why we have organisms going extinct at the moment. It causes 75% of the extinctions that are now occurring. The number one reason that habitat is being destroyed is because of us as humans. You know, just spreading out, clearing more land for the things that we need is causing less area for other organisms to live. The second threat to biodiversity is hunting. Now, when we talk about hunting, this is not like the legal hunting that a lot of you do during the deer season or hunting waterfowl or whatever. This has mainly to do with poaching. And the definition for poaching is any illegal hunting. So this is not just like killing endangered elephants in Africa, which we often hear about with poaching. This is people in Minnesota who violate hunting rules or hunting laws by not obeying their limits. Okay, either fishing or deer hunting or anything else, not following those guidelines that are set by the DNR. So that is also considered poaching. So sometimes people don't think it's such a big deal if they, take an extra deer or whatever in the season or don't clean up with it for it properly or whatever. But we have done studies of this poaching in different states, and it turns out that states like Missouri, Washington, and New Mexico have done studies that show more animals are killed illegally than legally. And when we're talking about animals killed illegally, we're talking about poaching. Right? So not following those laws and regulations that are set forth by the DNR is considered poaching, and it does threaten our biodiversity. Okay, the limits that the DNR sets are very specific and calculated, and they know that that's a good amount for us to hunt. If we go over that amount, that starts to threaten our different populations. And then the final threat to biodiversity, which has been in the news a lot lately in Minnesota, is exotic and introduced species. Things like the Asian carp, which come into our lakes and outcompete the regular fish, so fish like walleye and things like that that people really like to catch in our lakes, aren't getting as much food because the carp are upsetting the food web. The zebra mussels and Eurasian water milfoil, so the zebra mussels are like little kind of like snail-like things that eat algae in our lakes, and they're a problem because they clog up drain pipes and stuff like that. Eurasian water milfoil is a type of plant that can take over a lake pretty quickly and reduce the water quality by being in there. So we have a lot of issues about these introduced or exotic species in Minnesota, in our lakes and in our wetlands, and other states do as well. And because these different species are better at getting resource than our native species, they're killing off a lot of our species that are supposed to be here, and thereby decreasing our biodiversity.